Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Thank all of you for being here today, this February, what is it, February 27th, 2024. We have a pretty full agenda today, so hopefully we can move through it very quickly and give everybody that has an update an opportunity to give us a thorough update and give us feedback. Eric, would you do roll call, please?
I'll go ahead and do roll call. When I call your name, please just say present or absent. Well, you can't say absent if you're not here, so just say present. Chairwoman Bauer.
Eric is sharp today, isn't he?
Present.
Commissioner Bowles.
Present.
Commissioner Ellis is absent. Commissioner Ford.
Present.
Commissioner Hartsfield.
Present.
Okay, there you are. Commissioner Hearn.
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner King.
Present.
Commissioner Lyman. Absent. Commissioner Morris is absent. Commissioner Reesmeyer.
Present.
And Commissioner Tauheed.
Present.
Thank you. All present and accounted for.
Thank you. All right. Do we have a copy of the minutes from our January 23rd meeting to approve?
I sent those to everyone about around 2 o'clock-ish.
All right. Did everybody receive those? I did not have a chance to review them if I did receive them, so let me take a quick look.
And just a quick question, do you guys want those right after the meeting? Would that be better?
I think it would be helpful to get the notes, maybe even if it's a week in advance of this meeting,
Okay.
or prior to the meeting would be helpful. Others might have a different opinion. I know that we're still working on getting that a repository so that we can always have access to go out and look
Yes.
in between times, have access to all of these documents. To give everybody another 2 minutes or one more minute to review, and then we'll see if there's a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Hartsfield.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Who was that?
This is Dion.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner King. It's been moved and seconded to accept and approve the minutes from our January 23rd meeting. Is there any discussion? All in favor to approve the meetings, please vote aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting minutes have been approved and accepted into the record. All right, chair report. I have a few things that I'm going to zip through really fast. If you have any questions, just let me know. Most important, I think that you all heard, I sent an email that the $210,000 that was promised to us has been added to the budget. One thing that I did not find out is what that means as far as accessibility. So the fact that it's been added to the budget makes me think we may not have access to those funds until after the budget has been approved, which I'm not exactly sure when that happens, but I feel like it might be May. Does anybody have any insight into the budget approval and when those funds are actually available?
Um, I will tell you the funds are normally available after May 1st. That's when the new budget takes effect.
Okay, thank you. So we know the 210, it's in the budget. So assuming that it makes it and stays in the budget, because there's a whole process and series that changes and adjustments will happen, but assuming it stays in the budget, I'm assuming that we will have access to those funds in very early May, and there's still the commitment from the mayor and the city council to work with the business community and the philanthropic community for the other 300,000. So I'm sure there will be ongoing conversations about that. We were scheduled to have a meeting with some of those persons last week. That meeting was scheduled. I'm sorry, that meeting was canceled. Councilwoman Robinson was not going to be able to physically be in the meeting, and several folks were not able to make the meeting. And so it made sense to me that we just reschedule those meetings. So we will look to get those back on our calendars soon. We may take a slightly different approach. I recommended to Councilwoman Robinson that those meetings be perhaps smaller in scope and size versus having a big meeting of 15 people, to have a smaller, more individual meeting as folks have their own questions and concerns about reparations, our approach, and perhaps even questions that they have about the work. Any questions about the budget or anything that I've shared? If not, at this time, I wanted us to spend just a few minutes on the original job description that we drafted back in July to see if there's any edits or changes. Eric, if you could pop up that job description from the procurement department, because I'd like us to be ready to roll once we get the word that the money is ready to roll, so that we don't have any additional delays there in crafting a job description.
Can everyone see the screen?
I don't
Oh.
I don't see the document.
There it is.
There we go. There we go. So the top of it was just, again, the description. Eric, if you could raise that just a little bit so that everybody has an opportunity to kind of read that layout. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. This was the, I believe, the lead researcher position. Eric, can you raise it up just a little bit?
I'm not sure exactly what it looks like on the screen.
We can see the project description and we can see the project goals. Is that all of page 1? Or
Oh,
is there
I'm sorry.
something?
Okay.
If you could
There you
scroll
go.
down.
There
Is
you
that
go.
it?
There
I'm
you
sorry.
go.
I was scrolling on the wrong document.
There we go. Hold on right there. Hold on right there. Okay, so this is the first page of the project description and the project goals. Let's take just a quick minute to review that, see if we still feel comfortable in what that is presenting.
The last bullet on project description, what does that mean to establish the infrastructure for research? Or is it to conduct research? Is that
Yeah, I
what?
don't think, yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. And I think that language was pulled right out of the ordinance. So I think that may just be a error to establish the infrastructure. I think that whole top part, project description, was pulled out of the ordinance, so we'll get that cleaned up. We'll definitely have to get that 9 months adjusted. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. I don't know if that's something that has to go back in front of the full council to extend. We've gotten verbal agreement that it will be extended, but I don't know we'll have to find out what the formal process is to get our timeline extended.
But I think this speaks to the timeline for whoever the researcher is, regardless of what our timeline is. Like, when would they need to wrap up their work from the time they started to,
Oh, yeah, sure.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
So
would
for
we,
that,
would we want an interim report from them, like at 6 months, and then, I don't know. I don't know if that's getting too detailed, but
you're saying instead of 9 months, it should be 6 months?
I don't know. I'm just proposing, just something to think about. If this is outlining the goals of whoever the lead researcher is, would we want some type of report from them at 6 months, like an interim report, and then the finalized report at 9 months, or?
Yeah, and maybe just to be on the safe side, we just put within 6 to 9 months, because I think as we get into the work, there's already been question as to whether or not one researcher can cover all 5 areas. There may be some other adjustments that we have to make. So maybe we just give ourselves grace in that space and say 6 to 9 months. Because to me, it would also depend on whether we hire somebody full-time. Is that what they're going to be doing? Full-time for us, or something different than that?
Yeah.
Are we okay to move to the next page? Roll to the next page. Any edits under qualifications or questions? All right. Evaluation criteria to be considered. Can you roll? Yep.
I think that under the it was like number one. If the question of what, when, where, why, if there could
Oh,
we could add a
go up,
timeline in there would be
go
helpful.
up
I didn't
to
see that anywhere,
right,
but
right
I
here.
think that would be helpful. Yeah, yeah.
Will, can you repeat your comment? What did you say about a timeline?
I think a timeline in addition to that which the report is, has there. I mean, it doesn't say that they're not going to structure a timeline of how things laid out within the report, but it doesn't specifically say that either. So
You mean a
Well,
historical timeline of events?
correct, correct. Like like what occurred during the event, when the event occurred. I
but
mean,
that's,
just like a timeline with that as well.
Commissioner Bowles, that's explicitly covered by the when the event occurred.
I mean, if that you see that you have a when that could be placed in multiple paragraphs of multiple pages versus a timeline that is, an actual timeline. So the when is actually very, it's ambiguous, and so then just trying to get something concrete so that makes it easier as far as having a timeline that lays out this is boom, that's what we're talking about, this to that date, versus having to read 10 pages to get your synopsis of the whole actual timeline.
well, I mean, that could be something that we require when we get this researcher. I wrote this job description, so I'm explaining what is meant by when. We're talking about events here, and the event may have occurred and may have been a short time event. It may have been over a decade. That is to be explicitly discussed in the report for each event. So we can make sure that we tell the researcher that we want it explicitly in that way. To putting it into this document as a timeline, I think is duplicitous.
Well, regardless, so long as we get in addition to the research, a timeline that lays these out, regardless if it's in the document or something that we speak to the people about directly, it is what it is to me, really.
We can certainly do that. Because Commissioner Bowles, I think I understand what you're saying. And so I'm gonna defer to Commissioner Tauheed on what researchers look for and how they will understand this, because this is his wheelhouse. But I agree that in the document, I think I hear what you're saying. So if it's 1860 to 1910 to 1937 you'd like to see that timeline of events laid out so that you can kind of see it in a graphic. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we can cover that through the interviews and discussion. I think that would be helpful. Anything else? I think any other qualifications? I think we had kind of gone through there, but let's just pause. And then, so 2 and 3, evaluation and qualifications. Anything under there, Eric, is number 4, no, page is 2 of 4. So a couple more pages. Scroll. There we go. Anything to edit in 5.1? This is how we're asking them to reply to the RFI. Okay. Everything else is just recommendation of how they fill out their paperwork when they submit. Anything on 4? All right, so we will make those edits, which was really only under the first section. We'll put in 6 to 9 months to give ourselves some space. Everything else looks like it's good to go. We can use that and move forward. Any questions or comments about the job description? Quick update on the Black Audit Project. I've tried to keep everybody generally updated by email, but that team, the 4 students from Columbia, are working really hard to get all of our community leaders scheduled for an interview. Some have been interviewed, some are just being scheduled for an interview. We meet with them on a weekly basis, so if you guys ever have any questions or clarifications on anything, please let us know. We'd be happy to pass that along. We do.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, Eric.
no, I was coughing. I thought I was muted.
Oh. We do know that they will be here from March 14th through March 17th, which I think that's Thursday through Sunday. On March 14th, that Thursday, will be the town hall meeting with Professor Hansford. He will only be here in Kansas City the one day, which is March 14th. We got confirmation that we will be meeting at the Black Archives. And we have split that day into 2 two time frames. I might not get this exactly right, but like 1 to 4, and then 5:30 to 7:30, 8:30. So it'll be 2 windows of time. We're going to create an Eventbrite so that folks can schedule themselves to come in and share their stories. It'll be very similar to a listening session. And I know that LaDonna is working on the communications that should be ready very soon. Eric, do you have an update at all of when those notices will be ready to send out?
That I do not. I will get with her in the morning and
Okay,
see where she's at with that and how so we can get them out.
okay. We are going to create um, kind of an invitation only opportunity for elected officials, community leaders that have been a part of the project to come in and join us for breakfast on that morning. So put in your calendars, March 14th, 8:30 to 10. That'll be kind of a private opportunity to meet with Professor Hansford and the students to get the first results of the work that they've put together. And again, this work, we have full access to everything that they uncover. The point of this work, it will be compiled with other cities and part of the work that Professor Hansford turns into Geneva, Switzerland as part of the United Nations Black Audit Project.
Was that the name of the project again?
Well, this is Professor Hansford's name for it, the Black
Right.
Audit Project. The UN project is the UN Sustainability something. I'll put a link in the chat that you can go to and take a look at, where they're looking at how cities are faring against 17 very specific goals. It's just that Professor Hansford took that and just applied it to the Black community of over
Okay.
30 different cities, and Kansas City is one of those cities.
Okay.
We are working with Eric Stafford to put together a bus tour of Kansas City, which should be a lot of fun. When we get the date and time for that, we will also let you know because we'd love to have a few commissioners on the bus with our guests as they tour around the historic spots in Kansas City. And then they will be joining me at church. Commissioner Hartsfield, they will be joining me at Metropolitan on Sunday, March 17th. They specifically wanted to come to church following all of this work. So all of you, of course, will be invited to that. So really looking forward to their work. Robin Ruth Simmons has been here since the last time we met. We had a wonderful opportunity to meet with her one-on-one at the Bruce Watkins Cultural Center. And I think that everybody enjoyed the big payback. Got a lot of good comments, and I'm gonna hopefully when we get to old and new business, some of the commissioners that were there can kind of share their perspective on that first workshop because I didn't get there until 3 o'clock. So it'd be great to hear your thoughts on that. We continue to participate in monthly and national regional calls. Of course, all of you are always welcome. I try to keep you updated by sending things that I hear about, but it's really helpful to know what people are doing regionally and also what people are doing across the country. Because it's really easy to get caught up thinking that either we're not moving along as well as we should be moving along. A lot of us on the commissions or task forces across the country are having some of the same challenges. So to be able to share and talk through those and even hear how other communities are addressing some of their challenges has really been helpful. We have a meeting coming up next week with the St. Louis Commission. So I really appreciate the opportunity to meet with them. They are 100% volunteer commission. So there is no funding for the work that they are doing. That's all volunteer. So looking forward to hear that. Janae and I met with the Black Agenda Group on February 19th. Had a really good discussion with them. And then Commissioner Carnell Ellis and Janae and I went out to KU and met with a social work class to just talk about reparations and what it is and what it could mean for our community. I think that's all I have for the president's report. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've shared today? All right. Then we're ready to jump into, oh,
The
yes,
sorry for interrupting. The breakfast that you want us to show up for, that's at the Black Archives at 8:30 on March the 14th, correct?
correct. Yes,
Um,
yes. Okay, I see you, Commissioner Tahi. So do you would like to kick off our subcommittee reports for economics?
Yes, very, very short report. We did meet on February the 8th. It was the first Thursday, excuse me, of that month on the 8th. And so we did have our economics committee meeting. We had a short meeting, so there's really not much to report, except that we did have a meeting. So, Commissioner King, did you want to jump in with anything that you'd like to report on?
No, I do think it was a productive meeting, even though it was short. And I think it was just us two, but you were able to give some initial assignments and sort of structure some of the framework that I thought puts a little bit better understanding on the scope of the economic subcommittee. So I don't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Well, we can. What we had intended to do for that meeting was to discuss the framework, the report framework that Commissioner Reismeyer had put forward, and Commissioner Reismeyer was not able to attend that meeting, and so we just scheduled the discussion we just tabled discussion for the next meeting with some assignments to go through that document and to adjust it for the economic subcommittee, although our understanding is that that is a kind of a general reparations commission report format, but we thought we would also utilize it. It'd be well to use it for our subcommittee report as well.
Commissioner Tauheed or Commissioner King, do we ever get those two individuals rescheduled? I can't remember her name, but she's leading the Urban Summit, and we were having problems getting them connected. And so I think it was two meetings where they were scheduled and we didn't get a chance to meet with them.
Yeah, we are trying to reschedule them. That would be Andrea Dorch and Ken Bonker's former council member. We're trying to reschedule them.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it.
Yeah, or someone to represent. They were there particularly to represent the Black Chamber, Kansas City Black Chamber of Commerce, and to talk about the Kansas City business history, at least the last 50 years of that history.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else for the economics subcommittee? Okay, so Commissioner Morris is not here to represent housing. Commissioner Ellis is not here to represent education. Is there anyone from those task forces that would like to share? All right, Bridget Jones, Dr.
I'm on the education committee. Education committee did not meet in February.
Thank you. Anybody with housing have a report?
We didn't meet as far as I know.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Jones, you're up for health.
Yeah, and we also didn't meet. I was out of town, so we didn't have a meeting.
Okay. Just reminds me too that I need to nudge the mayor on our replacement for our public safety position. We've not had anybody representing us from that standpoint for a while. So we really need to nudge him to get somebody appointed. All right, anything else for our subcommittees? I think we've covered them all. Commissioner Jones, is your subcommittee health, are you beginning to have conversations about listening sessions?
Yes, so we have started, we've started discussions, I think have identified a speaker that we would like to bring in. So in our next meeting, I know that now there's a formal process within the commission for bringing in public speakers and for the listening session. So I plan for us to go through that in our next meeting.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to start getting some dates out there. We want to get plenty of ramp up time for promotion and to really make sure we get that information out to the public. All right, so next up on the agenda is old and new business. Commissioner Ford, you want to talk to us about rhythm, rhyme, and reparations?
Well, of course I do. How's everybody doing this afternoon?
Good.
Good, good. Well, just going to be as brief as possible, of course, but we're tracking along. We have a planning committee that is very powerful, and so all I can do is just kind of lay things out and fasten my seatbelt. The building, thank you to Mr. Eric, has been the dates are secured, and the building is secured for the dates of okay, March 24th is going to be the first of the series to be put off. So right now we're looking at the promotion, and we've got some ideas for building the exhibit, which is going to be more or less a focal point that people can visit, look at. It's going to have frequently asked questions and things like that. And so it's going to be something that the coalition can use anytime, the commissioners can use anytime. Hopefully, with the way we're setting it up, it'll be portable, have the mobility. You can take it out to schools or wherever you want to take it, and help in the presentation about reparations. So that's our main focus, of course, with the celebratory environment is the draw, and we'll want to share information about the reparations themselves. So we're going to be putting out the promotion. I'm working on a press release now. We're going to be trying to get out to all the organizations and the community organizations and sororities and fraternities and get the word out so that we can have as much community response and participation as possible. We're trying to also work on the budget. I was wondering, was there any repository if someone was to start donating for the cause? Do we have a place for funds, way to place the funds in safekeeping and that is transparent and available? So I was gonna get with you, Terry, but I just haven't got a chance to, and had that question to you personally, so we could talk about it before we got to this place. But here we are now. So I just want to throw it out there. It's just, if there's something available or something we just need to start looking into.
Well, we certainly don't have anything available, but I think we definitely need to figure it out. It reminded me of something that we've learned from other communities. They are going to what would be similar to us as our Greater Kansas City Community Foundation and establishing a reparations fund where all of this money can be sent. So the public, businesses, people who believe in reparations, they can begin to donate there now. And a lot of these other places are using those funds to support Black funded projects. They are standing up, for lack of a better term, a board who can disseminate those funds. But we need to figure out what that looks like, because the city's that's not an option.
Okay.
We can always start with we can always use the coalition until we figure it out as well as an option.
Okay.
Terry, Fritz talking here. Why would that not be an account held by the city? My thought process is we are a commission appointed by the city, and maybe within their finance department, there should be an account for donations. It seems to me that might give some, what am I thinking about? Double check, oversight, transparency. If we had a fund that wasn't controlled by the city, I'm just thinking maybe we ought to go to the city attorney or somebody for a little bit of advice there, I guess is my point. We certainly don't want to have it look like not transparent slush fund. We certainly don't want it to have any appearance like that. So
You know what? So that we could absolutely do that. My brain immediately went to 501(c)(3) to be able to, when people are donating, that they'd be able to get a tax benefit. But if that's not the question, you're right. I mean, now I guess my first response would be, it would probably be harder to get the funds if it goes through the city, just because of all of the requirements that would have to be in place for us to use the funds. But we can certainly ask the question so that we can make the decision with awareness on all the options that we have.
those are two separate questions. One is to get the city's input, council's input on the right way to do it. 501(c)(3), we are not such an organization, correct? In fact, we
Right.
have no legal, we're not set up as a separate legal entity even. So if I would think that would be a separate entity that would be a 501(c)(3) for the purpose of donating money to do the reparations research. But that would take some lawyers not that know tax and stuff like that. That's not me.
Okay, well, that's exactly the questions we've been encountering to consider this as funds. If funds did start rolling in, we wanted to have something in place already just in case. And so those are very good questions. Rich, these are ones that we were entertaining because I know, well, my organization, we're 501(c)(3). We're setting up as a fiscal sponsor, but still I didn't want to start intermingling, you know, funds in any kind of way that would cause any questions. And I like to be, you know, above board on everything from the start, you know. So this conversation, I think, those questions need to be asked and answered. So I think the legal part department, for instance, as you mentioned, should be the first place to go.
Barrett, can we get your help on following up with those questions for us?
I can definitely do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So other than
Eric,
that, I believe that's where we stand right now with the rhythm, rhyme, and reparations. We're ready to go forward, and if there's any questions, I'll entertain them.
where is it going to be held, or did you say that?
The first one's going to be at the Mohart Center.
And I noticed that that's on a Sunday. So did you go, is it
Yes.
a gospel thing or
No,
no?
this is the rhythm rhyme. We're using the Sundays because, you know, those are the dates that are most available for not only artists, but for our constituents. Very few people are going to BTU anymore or Sunday evening services. So I think that's a very available time that we can get the best response from the community and get a large amount of participation.
So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I just heard like this week or maybe last week that Mohart has terrible sound. So that might somebody might need to check that out because you don't want to be in there and the sound is bad.
Yeah, I went there. Brought the Bobby Jones concert here. Well, it's back in the '80s, and I used that facility. Yeah, I'm dating myself. Yeah, y'all can laugh if you want to. You know, you just hang around. Okay?
The sound was probably new back in the '80s.
Yeah, but I understand that they just had a refurbish of the facility, and they did something with the audio. I haven't been able to get back up there and check and see what that is. But yes, that is a definite concern. I will check it out.
Thank you. Any other questions for Commissioner Ford and his group? That I love the artwork on the flyers. Kelly, I think that was your handiwork.
It
That's
was.
awesome. Yeah,
Yes,
really,
it
really
is
cool.
awesome. And then of course Dion is putting some packaging together, and I've got a guy who's as we display everything. Well, I don't want to throw too much out there, but we're trying to, instead of them standing on stands, we're trying to make some caricatures of some of our past history, like the mayor, the former mayors, and utilize them for stands for the posters and whatever. So there's a lot of ideas out there. We're just trying to make them real. But
Sounds good. Sounds good. I thought of something else that I was going to share before the rhythm. I was going to say rhythm and ribs. Before the rhythms, rhymes, and reparations. You all may have heard about this wealth and racial gap event that was yesterday. There's a
yeah,
lady in town named Ebony Reed who wrote a book, 15 Cents on the Dollar. The
yeah.
meeting was yesterday, but they're also having one tonight at 6 o'clock in case anybody is interested in attending. And that's supposed to be more of a one-on-one conversation with her and um, the brother that's the president of Swope Health to talk about the data and the information that's in her book. And if you go, if you're one of the first 100 that attend, you receive a book free. But
Oh,
the book
wow.
doesn't come out. The book doesn't come out until June. But I attended yesterday, and they did it as a panel discussion yesterday. But today might be more powerful because it's just her one-on-one having a conversation about writing the book and the data that they have in the book. So if I have any juice left today, I'm going to try to go to that
I didn't
tonight.
see you. I was there yesterday, and I didn't see you there, Terry.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay.
It was really good stuff because it's really what we're getting ready to do.
Right.
The work that they've done, and theirs is on a national level. Of
Mhm.
course, ours is going to be here local.
Okay.
All right. Old and new business, Commissioner King, unearthing your roots.
So thank you for that. Commissioner Barnes and I have the pleasure of meeting a gentleman over TikTok, and there was a video that was posted out. It's about a minute long, but it kind of sparked my interest. Fulton County was awarded $250,000 for their researcher who was a genealogist, and he really was contracted to be able to quantify the harm. And so he had a very unique metrics, and we had an opportunity to meet with him. But I wanted, Eric, if you will, show that right quick to kind of give them an understanding of fully the type of work he did for Fulton County. And then I can tell you a little bit more about our conversation.
Okay, let me find it real quick. And I think he's in the audience, actually. Okay, still haven't gotten the email yet.
You haven't gotten my email?
Hmm.
Well, let me put it in the chat for you. Yeah,
Oh, hold on.
Okay. I have it queued up too if you want to share your screen.
Oh, I think I got it.
Okay.
That was been long. Okay, no, it's not gonna work for me.
Can I share mine?
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm gonna do that so everybody can kind of get a glimpse of that. Hopefully you can hear the sound.
Telling the Fulton County Task Force on Reparations that they have identified through census and county records.
Can you hear that?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Let me move my little beautiful faces out the way now.
Every single slave owner and every single slave in Fulton County, beginning in the 1850s. Researcher Christopher Smothers.
And I was able to see the direct revenue and profits that they made every single year and how much they were paying in taxes every single year on each enslaved person.
And the task force chair, Dr. Karshik Sims Alvarado, says that's the kind of documentation that will ultimately help the county decide how much Fulton County government benefited from slavery.
And we need to know, what is that value?
It was 1 year ago when the Fulton County Commission voted to spend $250,000 so the Task Force on Reparations could come up with recommendations on whether county government should pay reparations, not only for its role in slavery, but also, for example, for wrongfully seizing property from Black residents over the decades.
It's time to talk about reparations. The Economic Justice Reading List explores how much is owed and how to get it. Visit Every Day is Juneteenth, the most radical Black bookstore on Instagram, and click the link in the bio to see the list.
3 genealogical researchers telling the Fulton County Task Force on Reparations that they have identified through
I think that's it. Hopefully you all were able to see that, just sort of get a high level glimpse of some of the work that he did, but he's a fascinating young man. I didn't realize this type of work was going on. He spends his time in libraries and in the courthouse and property documents, and really being able to add a metrics to what they're doing. And so I just thought that would be of help for us, and had Commissioner Barnes to sit in with it. And so we just learned a lot of different places to look. That was one of the questions going in. What type of metrics did he create? And then where do you look? Where do you start, and how does that work? And we were, I don't know about you, Commissioner Barnes, but I was excited to see that we already have a lot of these organizations in place, the Black Archives and different places that we can use as our resources and not necessarily recreate the wheel. So again, his name is Christopher Smothers. If anybody would like to get his information, it's Unearthing. What is it again?
Unearthing Your Roots.
Unearthingyourroots.com or something like that. But check out his work. I think he was very fascinating, and he was able, I think he was probably well worth the money that they spent on having him to quantify their harm areas. Did you have anything?
Thank you. No, I just want to add that it was just a pleasure speaking with him. And one thing I wanted to share, just kind of how small the community is. I mentioned that I went to the Wealth and Racial Gap presentation by Ebony Reed yesterday. And after that event was over, I happened to be at True Food Kitchen on the plaza meeting somebody else. And that team, Ebony Reed and her team, came in to have dinner. And so I went over, I introduced myself, told her I was on the reparations committee. And of course, they were very interested in that. And they were familiar with Chris Smothers. And so they said that they had, well, let me back up. As part of their presentation, they talked about the census records from 1860. And because we were still property, they had to pay taxes on their people. And so that really resonated with me from our conversation with Chris previously. And so I mentioned that to them, and they knew him and said that they had done some work with him. So it's a very small community, I think, that's doing this kind of work across the country.
I think every now and then he said he does give workshops, which also might be good for us to sit in.
Mm-hmm. Or invite him to one of these meetings just to talk to us about what he's able to do. And that's the other thing. Of course, you all know that, but we welcome guest speakers to come in to educate all of us if there's a topic or a subject that we'd like to hear more about, especially here in Kansas City. Is there anybody else who has old or new business before we open up, move on to our coalition reports?
I did. I had one more thing, Commissioner Barnes.
Yes, ma'am.
An opportunity. This is sort of a part 2 of really trying to get more information on the best way for us to communicate, and specifically our harm statements. And so I had a chance to sit in the National Black Cultural Information Trust presentation this past week with Jessica Ann Mitchell Ayulo. And it was sort of a part 2 on what are the most important things to identify when you are creating these harm statements. And so had a lot of good information. I know I don't have a formal presentation today, but if any of the chairs are interested in sort of the who, what, when, where, why examples or a template, I will be meeting and having office hour sessions with their chair, this person that created more of like a template or how to write a harm statement. I'll be meeting with her on March the 7th at, I believe that's 1 o'clock Central Time. And if anybody would like to sit in on that, you are more than welcome to do so. Actually, it's 12 p.m. Central Time. But I just thought if there are any chairs that are, kind of struggling, having difficulty on, creating your harm statements, then certainly this might be a good resource for you. I've also been doing some research on different harm statements, like with California, Fulton County. And then I wanted to kind of go through, you know, sort of the indigenous Native Americans and Jewish and what they use to be able to communicate their harms. And so just wanted to report on that. If anybody else is interested in that information, I'd be happy to share it.
Thank you, Commissioner King. Thank you for that. All right, I think we are ready to move over to the KC Reparations Coalition. Is Sister Relaford on? Janae? There you go.
I see that. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so I just came back from a reparations convention in St. Paul, Minnesota. Black Lives Matter Minnesota organized it. Traherne. I know I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he's the leader of Black Lives Matter Minnesota, one of the organizers of that event. One of the main things I took away from that is something really exciting. There's a group called Restorative Actions, and they are like a group of unity churches, and they're starting a fund. It's an IRS trust. They're creating trust through the IRS for the wealth transfer. So they've already raised like 800,000, and they have 200,000 more committed. But these trusts are for Black and Indigenous communities to tap into for their reparations work. So Brother Kim Howard, he was the keynote speaker for this event, and he was so excited about it. He's connected with these individuals to model this in Chicago. So I think it's definitely, this is a group that we should reach out to and get more information about what they're doing. Their website is restorative-actions.org, restorative-actions.org, and I'll put it in the chat as well. But that is definitely one of the highlights of that convention for me, is finding that out. Other than that, we're just still plugging away. Last night at our meeting, we had Diving with a Purpose, Brother Siddiqui, which was an outstanding presentation on that organization. They dive for slave ships, and just do a lot of work to educate the community on the transatlantic era. I don't want to say it wrong, because he was definitely teaching us that we have to really be careful about the language we use, that we are not and we're not slaves. We were enslaved. So I'm trying to be more careful about choosing my words with that. But next month we'll have people from Where Is My Land presenting on how they've been helping individuals across the country secure land that was stolen from them. So great work that we all are continuing to engage in, and just very excited about where it's all leading.
Sister Janae, the group you just spoke about, Restorative Actions, is that local to Minnesota, or is that like a national group?
I believe they're local to Minnesota.
Okay, so the funds that they're raising is specifically to be used in Minnesota.
Yes.
So is it similar to what I mentioned earlier, how other cities and organizations, mainly the faith-based community, I keep coming back to our faith-based community, are setting up these nonprofits where they're just, anybody can put the money in, and they seem to be around that $1 million mark.
Exactly. So yeah, as I shared, Kim grabbed a hold to them to help him create some sort of model like that in Chicago. So we need one here.
I do agree. I do agree. I did finally get a couple connections for our interfaith community. I'm working with a couple of people to try. My understanding is that the formal interfaith there is a formal interfaith group, but they have not been active. But there are still core people who can help pull them together for a meeting such as this. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to get back on our schedule. Janae, do you have anything else from the coalition?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. And we've got Justice Gatson giving us a report for the Real Justice Network.
Hey, everybody.
I'm glad you were able to get on.
Yeah, I've been having problems the last couple of meetings, but thank you so much for helping me to get on. I want to go back to something that was mentioned earlier about the space over at the Mohart. I just did an event at Mohart this weekend, and they have installed the new audio technology. So that is currently in place over at
Good.
Mohart. And it sounded great. I used the big space in the front, and we used the theater because we had a production, and we were just fine. I just suggest when you make the request from the city to also put the request for the audio technician to be present on that day so that you can get everything together. But moving into some of the things that our organization has been working on to push reparations, we have a specific lens around reparations for reproductive injustices. And so we are planning a space out in the month of June, since it symbolizes reproductive justice. And if you all are not familiar, we got that term from 12 Black women who call themselves the mothers of African descent. And so this is a part of our history, a part of our legacy. I was in Ohio a couple of weeks ago and gained access to what they're building out, somewhat of a historical library of past harms in the reproductive justice space. And so we're hoping to bring that to Kansas City in June. But the other big thing that I'm excited about is I finally linked back up with an old friend of mine, Eric Stafford. Some of y'all may know this brother. He does the Kansas City tours. He's so amazing. We partnered a few years ago to do a Breaking the School to Prison Pipeline tour. We've done tours also for the Black Homeschool group. And so he and I are getting together tonight to build out what we're calling an educational series on reparations that is inclusive of a bus tour, a guided tour, where we're going to, talk to folks about Wheatley Hospital, what that means for our community, and other spaces in our community that we pass by every day and aren't aware of the historical significance. So it's coming together, that is, along with our young people that we're working with to share stories, what we kind of call race class narrative approach. It's just a way to tell a story that is meaningful and impactful. And so we have a fellowship we're building out for young people who we're going to stipend to do some of that amazing work. I'm actually partnering with KCPT for them to be thought partners and also to lend expertise to these young people to train them on how do we use this camera? How do we use this equipment? How do we actually write? A skill that is slowly dying. But this is all to advance education around reparations in our local community and pulling in young people and pulling in folks that are doctors, are medical professionals, are folks who are doulas, midwives, community health workers around this issue. So we'll have some dates to come out of our meeting. Hopefully, maybe tonight we'll have some dates, or at least a roundabout time frame for this, and we'll be able to share that. but we want this body to be involved, to be connected, and to know and be a part of what we're doing. The other thing I'll uplift is my group. We are part of Movement for Black Lives, which is a different organization than Black Lives Matter. A lot of people conflate them, but I want it to be clear. Which composes of about 200 plus other Black-led organizations from around the country. There is a reparations table within that body, and lots of folks who work on local reparations in their various communities around the country. So I do participate. I want that to be known. I do participate in that coalition, and also in the Reparations for Drug War Coalition. That is a national coalition. And so part of my presence is to hear the ideas that other communities are coming up with and what they think would be good for their community, to bring that information back here to see if it's something that would be good for our community as well. And I really just like and appreciate the way that a lot of these folks are really thinking outside the box on what reparations can be for our community. It's a mix of things. It isn't just a check. It's a number of policies. And I think that's it for now. From Real Justice Network. Please let me know if you have any questions.
I just think it's great. As I listen to you give reports and I listen to Sister Janae give reports, I just feel like we collectively, we're hearing from all the different points on this movement, and we'll just be in a better place because we'll have information from just a variety of different places. I was going to ask you, what was the name of the group? You said it wasn't Black Lives Matter. It was something else.
It's called the Movement for Black Lives.
The Movement for Black Lives. Thank you.
Welcome.
Are there any questions for either one of the coalitions? But certainly keep us updated on dates. You may not have been on the call early on, but I mentioned that Eric Stafford is actually creating the tour for the group that's working on our the UN, the students coming in from the UN on March 14th. He's actually putting together a tour specifically for them, for the different areas that were impacted. So he might mention that to you tonight. It may be one of the same. It sounds like they may be the same.
And we talked before, and he had mentioned that he had a little bit of communication here, and I know we were going to chop it up tonight. Yep.
Yeah, good deal. All right. Are there any other topics we need to discuss before we open it up to public comment?
Miss Terry, is it cool if I give a little update on our website?
Well, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so a few things. So Eric and I have been working on it, and we're hoping to have these updates soon. But first is all of these subcommittee meeting times and links will be on there. I don't think the times are noted on there right now. They might be now, but not when I checked last. So that it's easier for people that want to join to know when to join and what they're joining. And the full commission meeting, like this meeting, will be on there as well. Second, we're hoping to add like a photo and a bio or something for all of the commissioners, just so like community members and everyone that's interested in our work knows who we are, where we're coming from. We'll follow up on that, but we're hoping to add a link or something so that people can see that information. For events, instead of doing like big flyers that take up a good portion of the page, we're hoping to do links so that people can click on there and like a link will pop up and more information will be on there. And then we can like add pictures and stuff after the event has been held so that people can see what the event was like. And then meeting videos, like recordings and such, it sounds like we can do like a YouTube playlist. So that is in process right now. I think Eric is working on that, to see logistics of access and stuff without codes. And then there are like a couple of other things that, Ms. Terry, I'm hoping I can talk with you later. We won't take time now, but on submitting public comment and also like email lists. I think we've had email conversations before about it, but just want to solidify exactly how you want to handle those, and then we can update the website with whatever you think is best.
Yeah, somebody else may remember this, but I feel like it was as simple as we wanted people to be able to have a place where they could go and add their email, so that we're building our list of people who are interested, so that when we have events or we want to get information out to people, for lack of a better, constant contact, MailChimp, but we have a way that we can send our information out to those persons who have attended a listening session, who have expressed interest. We meet them out in the community and they say, somebody asked me today, how can I get plugged in? And if we're able to send them to our website, they put their email in, it's a list that we're building so that we can quickly have access to them.
Okay. Yeah, then I will follow up with exactly how you want that to be presented on the website. But that won't be a problem. Eric and I have talked about that. So
I think the other thing that I remember, and I feel like the other thing that I remember is in the very early beginning on the website, there was a place you could go to put in Terry Barnes, and I could say, I have a story that I want to tell about health, or I have a story I want to tell about economics. And we knew that there would be people who would not want to share their stories publicly, but we wanted to provide them an avenue to where we could reach out to them and get their stories.
I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll follow up with logistics, but yes, I remember that conversation.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Thank you, Kelly, or thank you, Commissioner Hearn. Does anybody have anything else or anything that has come up from our conversation today? If not, we'll open up to public comment.
I have one comment.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir.
I know I was gonna get everyone signed back into Teams. Look for the email either tonight or tomorrow in your junk mail, so that way you can get access to everything in Teams that I created for everybody. So this were all the documents and everything are gonna be there, the list that we created. All those things will be there, so look in your junk folder or spam folder under, you'll look for a Microsoft Teams email. And then just follow that and it'll walk you through the process to get into Teams.
Eric, are you saying that that is already set up, or you are going to set it up? Because I know I'm already set up.
Right, it's already set up. What I have to do, because I had to take everybody out, so they don't have to look for the old email, and I'm gonna resend it to those that are not in it. So then all they have to do is look in their email and it should be there in their junk folder or spam folder versus having to look for the old email. So I'm gonna enter everyone back in the system. Again, those of you that are already in it, you don't have to do anything. So look for that email tonight or tomorrow and you should be good. If you don't get it, just send me an email, say, hey, Eric, I haven't gotten the email yet.
Okay. So by noon tomorrow, if you don't have an email from Eric, send him an email to say you didn't get your link.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right, Eric Goodman, do we have anybody from the public waiting? Eric?
Hi, I wanted to ask when you think that calendar on the website page would be available, will be up and running?
Commissioner Hearn, you want to take that one?
I think Eric and John were working on it. Eric, do you have a timeline for when he was able to get to that?
I do not have a timeline yet. I'm going to hopefully meet with him within the next day or two. I know he's been really busy. That's why he hasn't done the updates that we were hoping to have done already. So
Okay.
hopefully I'll find out this week how long it'll take him to do it.
That's a great idea. I can't wait for that to happen. And I love the idea about creating the email list also to send out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Good.
I don't see anyone else's hand up in the audience.
Oh, looky here. It's 4:17. I thought we would go all the way to 5 o'clock. Before we close out, I want to give anybody any other opportunity. If you've thought about anything, we don't have anybody else from the public?
Not with their hand up.
No. So if you are here from the public, number one, thank you for being here. And please plan to attend our special town hall meeting on March 14th. We will hopefully get a communication out no later than Friday, but it's going to be March 14th at 1 o'clock or from 1 to 4:30-ish. And then the second session will be 5:30 to 8:30. And then again, it will be a listening session with Professor Hansford. I see no additional.
I'm sorry, Sister Terry. I
Yes.
was on that restorative actions website, and I just wanted to clarify that I don't really see that it's specific to Minnesota. They have a little blurb on here. It says restorative actions is born from the intersection of theology, justice, and economics. It allows U.S. Americans who benefit from institutional racism to provide a credible witness for justice by surrendering ill-gotten gains toward the establishment of just relationships with Afro-Americans and indigenous communities. So it sounds like it's open for anyone in the United States of America to contribute to. And that makes me believe that it's open for groups from all around the country that are involved in reparations to benefit from.
Sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like it's well worth reaching out and asking the question and understanding the difference between whatever that is, which I jotted down IRS trust, versus what they opened up in Illinois, which was with their their community foundation. But we know whichever way you go, it was a way for anybody in the community to make financial contributions to support the work. And I think that we have an opportunity to do that here as well.
That thing is national and it's largely held by the Presbyterians who have been trying to make amends because of their direct involvement in the slave trade. So that's what that is. And
the restored.
Yeah, there is even here on the local end, they were trying to figure out how they can do something to support. And one of the things that before Pastor Scott passed, one of the things that I was going to ask them to do was to study what their congregants had done in other places, which was to set up these types of funds in order for communities to use them to organize around reparations, etc. I did a presentation for them early on. I've done a couple of presentations for them, but I don't know where they are since y'all know they had a great loss with their leader passed away, and they've been in a place. But I would imagine that they would want to still be involved and maybe figure out and maybe even push within their own ranks on building out something like that in a more collaborative space with other clergy who are interested in doing that. But yeah, it's national.
So just to clarify what you just said, you're talking about the Restorative Actions Group.
Yeah, there
So
it's
that is not an interfaith group. That is a
yeah.
Presbyterian group.
No. What I'm saying is some of the Presbyterians went ahead and took, I don't want to say leadership, but they definitely helped put it in place to stand it up for
Okay.
everybody to join into this.
Got it.
And
So
they
it's an
did it.
interfaith group, but the
Yes,
Presbyterians have a leadership role in it.
they have a part of leader. They wanted to open it up because they had got a report done on them about how they were, like what the actions, and so they got a bad report. That's what happened. They got a bad report that said that they were a racist, or pretty much aligned with white supremacy and a racist organization. So from there, their clergy have been trying to figure out what can we do to on this path of restorative justice, on this path of making amends, on this path. And so that's one of the things that they came up with to help create this space, so that one of the things we can directly do is put a trust up, put money into this thing for folks to tap into. So that is part of it, is what I'm uplifting. If you go back and you can kind of see some of the origins of how it came together.
Thank you for that. And you mentioned the pastor that passed away, Scott. Is that somebody local or somebody
Yeah, that was
national?
Pastor Scott Myers was local.
Scott
And over the presbytery. And they had, oh my gosh, probably maybe 13 churches under them. Local?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. This is all good information for me, because as I have conversations with people in the community about this interfaith group, it'll be really important to kind of put these names and groups all together, so we're not leaving anybody out, that everybody has an opportunity to be a part of whatever we come up with to present and try to bring them into this conversation. All right, good people. If there are no other comments, we will let you go at 4:24 and call this meeting. Oh, hold on.
Stacy Webb has her hand up again.
Oh, I'm sorry,
So you're
Stacy.
fine. You can unmute yourself. There you go.
Hi. Yeah, I'm sorry. Where on this March 14th event, it's another listening session,
Yes,
and where is that going to be?
it's going to be at the Black Archives down on 18th and
Oh,
Vine.
okay, yeah, I know where that is. Okay, and that starts at 1,
There will be 2 sessions.
right?
One is like from 1 to 4-ish, and the other
Uh-huh.
one is 5:30 to 8:30.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, for all of you, I have seen, well, I haven't seen the draft, but I saw the draft of the invitations that they've shared in other communities. And we've sent that to our city departments to create that invitation for us. So hopefully we will see that before the end of the week and we can start circulating it. The only difference, we are asking the public to tell us if they're going to come to the afternoon session or the evening session, just to try to make sure he has, you know, enough space to listen to those conversations on both sides. But for us, there will be again, closed breakfast for community leaders that are participating in this conversation, along with elected officials, to hear the first results of the study, of the work that they're doing. And that'll be at 8:30 that morning. All right, if there are no other hands, no other comments, meeting adjourned.
Uh-oh,
See,
Stacy got her
all
hand
right,
up.
Stacy.
Oh,
Yes.
no, I'm sorry. I thought I was lowering it. Sorry. Okay.
That's all right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all being here. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.